not tell the people, look, you can't keep eating as much as you want.
Come on.
And as shitty a food as you want and expect us to cover the bill.
What you
You
say?
just can't.
Nope. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Imani from Quality Cup Life, where we talk about how to produce a better quality of life for ourselves so we can pour it to ourselves first before we go out and do anything else for anybody else in the world. So yeah, let's flow it up and pour past capacity. So I was drinking coffee, but when I was preparing to get everything straight, I drank it all. But let me know in the comments what you guys are drinking today. Anyway, today I wanted to react to this video with Joe Rogan and Bill Maher. I think I'm saying this name right. This video, I think, is about a year old. And, but I know that Joe Rogan is a very interesting character, to say the least. And I've heard that Bill Maher is too. I don't know a whole lot about either one of them. But y'all, did y'all know that Joe was the dude from Fear Factor for a long time? I didn't know who this guy. I was like, okay, I keep hearing about Joe Rogan, but who is this guy? And then, so I Googled him and I was like, holy cow, like that's the dude from Fear Factor. I grew up watching Fear Factor, so that was pretty crazy. And he looks so much different now that he's bald. But I did know that his voice sounded familiar, and I was like, okay, who is this guy? But yeah. Alright, but anyway, guys, let's get into it, okay?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Do you think that Bernie's too left? Do you think he's
For
too
a
left
lot of
for
the
a lot of
country,
people?
yes.
Do you think that's real?
But the media asks
or-
the wrong question.
Yeah.
The media asks, and there's a debate tonight, the media asks the wrong question, which is, what would you do? This is a question that only makes sense if you're running for king. The question should not be, what would you do? The question is, what can you get through? What can you propose that Mitch McConnell will not either block or you can override with votes? Because that's a very different discussion. What Bernie Sanders wants to do, we shouldn't even be talking about, because it's not going to happen.
The free education,
Yes,
paying back student loan debt.
Medicare for all.
Medicare for all.
You know, all these,
Impossible.
So I don't know much about the politics of all these things. And I get that the compassion and stuff like that you that you have to kind of want to help everybody, but it's impossible to help everybody. At some point we gotta take responsibility for ourselves. So I'm all for, of course, pouring into yourself first, so that way you can be able to do things for everybody. I mean, if not everybody, for other people. And being able to, use wisdom in choosing who you're going to help. Because some people, as much as you try to help them, they can't be helped, or they don't know how to receive or appreciate help. But I'm going to just keep going.
Unless the Republicans self-deport, even if the Democrat wins the election, there's still going to be half the country that's Republican, and half the Congress is going to be Republican. And a lot of Democrats are not for this stuff. You know, when the Democrats took over the House in 2018, it was moderate Democrats who won their elections. It wasn't the far left. So
you get 4 years of spinning your wheel in the mud.
You get,
hoping to get some traction. Even if he gets in.
Again, it's what can get through Congress.
You know, I think I mix up Bill Nye, the science guy, and this guy. But even though I don't know anything about much about either one of them, but I get them mixed up sometimes.
You get a consensus on what can you make possible. Obama, when he did health care, said, yes, if we were starting from scratch, it would make sense to go for a single-payer system. But we're not starting from scratch. We're starting from a system where most people already have health insurance through their employer. It's a crazy story how that happened. It was World War II, and they couldn't raise wages because that was the law, so they had to find a way to give employers something else, so they gave them health insurance. But that's what we have now. And a lot of people like it or say they like it. I don't think a lot of people like arguing with their insurance company, but they're afraid of something worse. And I don't blame them. You know, if you're going to tell me the government, and I'm a Democrat, but if you're going to tell me the government is going to smoothly handle taking over something that large, I am going to be a little skeptical.
Well, it should be. They don't smoothly handle anything.
No.
There's no
Right.
evidence
Come on.
they smoothly handle anything,
Right.
other than maybe delivering the news.
Well,
or delivering the mail.
look, again, as an old school progressive, when you go down the list of things that the progressives have accomplished, especially in my lifetime, I cheer them all. Social Security, well, that wasn't my lifetime, but they improved it in my lifetime. Medicare, Medicaid. These are great programs. I mean, before Social Security, the senior poverty rate was like in the 28% or something, and then it went down below 10. It was a success. But when you look at what the government really, what their big successes have amounted to, it's passing out money.
This video is supposed to be more about the health side, but that's interesting because I know some older people now who kind of talk about, it's low-key complaining, but I don't think that they mean to, but they talk about how their Social Security check is very small and they gotta, kind of they're kind of getting by, what's the phrase, out of the skin of their teeth, because of their Social Security check is so small and then their pension is small. So I see what he's saying about that.
That very often they don't have. That's what they're really good at. Running a giant healthcare system, especially when the politicians who are proposing these systems will not, A, talk enough about, we got to cap the gouging. You can't pass out all this money if you're going to allow people, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies to charge anything they want, when the price of an EpiPen can go up from $12 to $1,200 overnight. That just can't happen. And also, they don't ask the people to lift a finger to take care of their own health. Nobody's healthcare system is going to work unless you people have some skin in the game. You can't not tell the people, look, you can't keep eating as much as you want.
Come on.
And as shitty a food as you want and expect us to cover the bill.
What you
You
say?
just can't.
Nope.
That is not something that anybody wants to hear, though.
Oh, I know, because I did that editorial and
I
then
know. I remember that. People got upset at you.
well, here's the story. People did not. People loved it until James Corden said something.
Oh, that's right. He had that whole... First of all, he did that, and in doing that, made fat jokes. Which
Which I
like,
did not, by the way.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Mine
you were
was,
talking
there was
about
nothing
obesity and
cheap on it.
morbid people.
Look,
morbidly obese people.
First of all, he missed a great opportunity to literally save lives. If he had taken the opposite approach, he took the easy way out. Of course, you can always get applause for saying, "Oh, let's boo the mean man who's told the truth." That's not brave. First of all, my point was
People they
that
just
you
so in
can't
their
solve
feelings these
healthcare
days.
unless you ask the people to participate in that. That was one, and also that we've gone to this place where we're proud of it. We're proud of being unhealthy. Weight Watchers had to take the name Weight and Watchers out of their title.
It's WW now.
That's crazy.
It's like, what? Being fat isn't bad. What's bad is someone pointing out that fat is bad. But, I mean, I read the statistic in that editorial. 40,000 people a month die from obesity. That's a crazy number.
Y'all, come on, man. People be trying to ignore this stuff. It's a thing. It's a thing, y'all. It's a thing. No, it don't matter how you flip it. People like to say, well, you can't judge my weight. You're not a health professional. I go to a health professional. It's like, okay, cool, I understand that. Nobody's trying to, well, I don't know about everybody else, but I know I'm not trying to shame anybody, but it's just like, it's a fact. The more weight that you carry, the more risks that you're at risk of, what? The more at risk you are of health problems, honestly. People can flip it all they want to, but that's a fact. And also, people, the media is like doing the whole has been doing the whole fear tactic about coronavirus, but they don't show you the percentage of people that actually died versus the amount of people who had it and survived. And people who died it's a lot of people, but it's a very, very small percentage of non-survivors than survivors. And then also people aren't pointing out, the people are mentioning the underlying health conditions, but they're not stressing how important it is to reverse those underlying health conditions. People are just talking about the quick fix, which is the vaccine, and they don't want to address that's like a sort of like a symptom to the real problem, like, because all right, let's just go ahead and play.
That is a crazy number. We have to somehow reverse this idea that we have in this country, not just about obesity, but about a lot of things, where I'm perfect the way I am.
No, you're not. We're not. We're not.
Perfect the way I am. And if you say different, you're a very bad person.
We're not. We're not perfect. I think what some people are trying to say is, of course, you don't want to hate yourself, because that turns into a terrible spiral. And so, no, of course you don't hate yourself. You love yourself as you are, of course. And then I think that's 1, and 2, you love yourself enough to, I think people also need to know that love is also being honest with yourself and with other people, and being like, you know what, I do love myself as I am, but I also love myself enough to tell myself, you need to pull back on certain things, because you're getting into the danger zone, or you know what, I am in the danger zone and I need to pull back on certain things. Just because you love yourself and accept yourself as you are doesn't mean that there's some things you cannot improve. And I think that's the part that people are missing. But
that's not a good place to be.
It's not healthy for anybody. It's you're protecting people's emotions, but shielding them from a possible moment that might make them realize that they are eating themselves to death.
Yeah.
And
right. I mean, look, I said it also in the piece.
You know what I do like about Joe Rogan, though? He's not, it's his show, and he doesn't care about what other people might say or the whole cancel culture and stuff. He says what he thinks. So I think that's cool. Whether what he thinks is right, wrong, or indifferent, he's very honest about what he thinks. And he also is very, well, at least from what I've seen of him or what I've heard of him, he does seem very considerate of other people. But he is going to state, hey, this is what I think, or hey, these are what the facts are, because I looked it up and it's a fact. So
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. That's fine. Whatever you think is beautiful, that's your deal. But health is science.
It is.
Yeah. That's science. And when we get apoplectic, when there's 50 deaths
That's a good
from
word.
shootings or
Apoplectic.
something a month, yeah, it's very bad, and we should be serious about that problem. But 50 versus 40.
And another thing, like, there's way more people dying from the underlying health conditions than COVID. Way more people are dying from a combination of heart-related diseases, kidney, liver disease, cancer, Alzheimer's. Like, there's way more people dying from those things every single year, like clockwork, a month. And nobody, but all of the attention is on COVID, and it's linked, a lot of those things are linked to those things. So nobody cared. Okay, before the shutdown, not nobody cared, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, it's wild. I'm play.
8,000 every month? And that's just what they're counting from the big ones, cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Mm-hmm. There's literally nothing about your health that is improved by being overweight.
Yeah.
So, I said we shouldn't taunt people.
Of course not.
Compare it to anything else. I also owned up to the fact that I used to drink too much and I smoked, but I didn't defend it.
Yeah.
When someone said, you went kind of hard last night with the drinking, I didn't say, how dare you drunk shame me?
Well, the weird thing
I
about
said, you're
Corden,
right, I did.
The weird thing about Corden too is he's not that fat. Like he could fix that in a couple of months. That's not that hard.
No, he took it was opportunistic.
Yes,
and
I
I'm
felt like that
saying
too. Yeah.
he literally lost an opportunity to save lives, because as someone who does struggle with weight, he could have taken the opposite approach and said, Bill makes a really good point, and we should look at how we are dealing with this. I noticed Jillian Michaels, the fitness expert,
She took a lot of shit for Lizzo.
Oh,
for Lizzo,
boy.
Yeah.
and if you want to be whatever weight you want to be, that's fine. But it's wrong to shame a fitness expert for saying this isn't healthy.
Well, it gets even
She
crazier.
said it's not going to be that amazing when she gets diabetes.
Yeah, and people went, "Not diabetes has nothing to do with weight."
Diabetes
it-
has
for sure.
everything to
For-
do with
fucking
it.
for sure it does.
Also, they lie. They say things like, "Well, it's the fat gene." It's there's not it's not that. Or here's another one. And look, this is valid. It's valid that in this country it is a lot harder to eat right
That's
if
true.
you're poor.
That
Yes.
is very
And
true.
we should totally address that.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Doubt if it.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right here. That's very true. I'm sure this video has even more meat in it, but that's very true. It is a lot harder to eat healthier when you're in a more lower income area, or your income is just low. But especially, well, both. But I say especially when you're in the area that's kind of pushing that. It is a lot harder, but it's not impossible. And what's interesting, and I kind of had this argument with with the pastor at my church a couple months ago, and I was trying to tell him he was I helped with like the media and stuff at the church, and he was talking to me about putting signs around the church talking about mask saves lives and all that. And I was just like, okay, cool. But I think it would also be a good idea to inform people about not just wearing your mask, but also be very intentional about what are you putting in your mouth and your health. And the conversation got a little heated very quickly, unintentionally by me. And I don't think I was the heated one. And it got a little heated and a little defensive pretty quickly. And my whole point was, you don't have to change everything overnight. You can just start small. Like, you can start small by eating one vegetable a meal a day. Like, that's a small start. Or you can switch from cow's milk to coconut milk or almond milk, like, or oat milk or something like that. Like, it's really simple. You can if you're not used to drinking water, commit to drinking one full bottle of water, just water a day. That's simple. Like, you can start with something. You can switch from canned vegetables to frozen. Like, you can buy a pack of frozen string beans, depending on where you go, for like 50 cents to $1. A can is about the same price. A can has been sitting in preservative and salt juice for God knows how long. Like, I was just trying to explain to him that you can start small. It's okay. Like, I'm not saying to just jump in and whatever, but he was like, well, we have to have our fried chicken and, we got to do this, and people don't want to, do that. And he was talking about how some of these people, they can't afford it. They know they can buy a box of Pop-Tarts for $2 and it'll feed their family. And it's just like, well, yeah, but we got to start thinking about long term. Us, I don't think just because this is what's given to you, which is what Quality Cup Life is about, just because this is the circumstances that was given to you doesn't mean that you have to accept that, because I grew up like that too, eating Pop-Tarts and hot dogs and ramen noodles and all that every day for dinner and lunch and all that. I mean, that's okay. Just start little by little. And people just make so much excuses for things that it's just hard for them to change. I understand that it is very hard to change, but just do what you can little by little. That's all I'm saying. So I ain't trying to hold you out very long, but I think that was I have never seen this video before, so it was a very interesting reaction. So it was a very interesting video. And I appreciate both Joe and Bill Maher pointing these things out and just saying, like, you know, we're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. This is just science. We're just being honest. We're not bashing anybody. People just, you know, people are just so sensitive these days. And if you disagree with them, then, you know, you're get all the names thrown at you, apparently. So thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.